What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BAM Media Sports Podcast. I am your host, BJ.
Yes, sir. And I'm your co-host, Malcolm Maniac Bugs, also known as Coach Bugs. Uh, Good to have us here again and be joint as far as doing something that was a leap of faith, but I think has broke the ground running. And I also want to thank all of our uh, viewers as far as likes, shares, subscribers. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we look to pay this forward. Tonight, we'll be talking about a plethora of topics, and we're going to look to uh, high school football from a recruiting standpoint and also from coaching and player standpoint. Uh, simply because I am a high school football coach. I coached at Carver High School in Montgomery this past season, my first year there. I loved and enjoyed it. The experience was gratifying, very, very informative for me. I learned a lot. And honestly, in every stepping stone of my career, this is my 6 year coaching, I've learned, and seek to learn more and more every day that I'm on the job just to continue to better myself, but also pay that same knowledge forward to for, newer colleagues, players that I may have, past and present. Just being able to be a vessel of change, but also a vessel of promoting good works throughout the game. So,
Oh yeah.
high school football this year, 7A. And actually, you sent something to me yesterday that made me um, glad to be a part of Alabama High School Class 7A. If you look at the Max Preps, was that Max Preps that you
Yeah,
sent?
that was Max Preps.
If you look at Max Preps top 10, I think it was top 10 toughest high school football classifications in the country.
Playoffs.
Playoffs, okay, playoff classification or playoff brackets in the country. Okay,
Uh,
that's what it was. That's what it was.
yeah.
And it was refreshing to see the same class that I participate in as a coach, and also the same class I participate in as a player as well during my playing day on that list. I think it was a couple of Ohio brackets on there. I know Georgia had a few, Texas and California, but to see Alabama 7A on there was very, very, very refreshing to me.
And you want to know? You want to know
Um,
something else I saw today too?
what's that?
Auburn was actually ranked in the top 25 in the country.
Auburn
Auburn.
High School.
Yes. Yes. Top
That's
25.
interesting.
That is big time. That's big
That's
time.
interesting. It's big time, especially with us with being Lee County bred.
Yeah.
I think that's very big time as far as changing the narrative because most people, when you think about Alabama high school football, the first thing they go to is either Hoover or
Mhm.
if you're talking about the new relative age, they talk about Thompson. And I think Central, for the last 5 years, has had something to say about it. But
Oh yeah, no
if
doubt.
you talk about, for the majority, people have always talked about Hoover and then now Thompson. So
Yeah.
speaking of that, we touched on Hoover. Uh, Situation just came out, and it's not the first situation with Alabama High School Athletic Association enforcing rules and guidelines for both players as far as transferring school to school, and also coaches as far as scouting
Hmm.
and being able to uh, really make in-depth analysis of their opponent and in which ways that they can do it.
Yeah.
Um, uh, One situation that was close to me, I would say both of them are actually. Um, the association passed down a one-game suspension to a great guy, might I add, Ben Blackman. for improper filming of a team while he was scouting them at a game. Now, me personally, uh, I do not agree with that suspension. I think somebody filming content at a game is equivalent to me as you sending and trading the film. Now, if you have somebody in depth, I guess people would say sign stealing or filming signals and things of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
then that's something that's to be investigated. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're sitting in the stands,
Yeah.
you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Scouting in high school football has always required coaches to go watch their opponent, to go sit in these stands, but also go, see the atmosphere for themselves, see the players in person for themselves, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to get a real point of view that'll be valid in competition, but
Yeah.
also in game prep.
Agreed.
Um, so how do you feel about Blackman's suspension? And would you
Uh,
like to elaborate on the newest suspension that just took place?
for sure. Definitely. I think Blackman's suspension. I think it was. I think it was needed. I do agree to what you said. By that's what coaches do. They film their opponents, so they can schematically, create a game plan behind it. So I definitely agree with that. But what I think the problem is with this issue is the rules stated that he has to technically be allowed by those two teams to film at the game. Uh, and I don't think either one of those teams allowed him to film at that particular game because they weren't technically playing him. So technically, they weren't allowing him to film them that particular week because he was playing one of the teams the next week. So definitely, I think obviously I don't think it's the first time it's been done. I definitely do think he just got caught in the bind, but he did serve a 1 game suspension, so I think that is fair. He came back the next week, so all is well with that situation. But the one that just happened today, might I add, that came out is our dear Opelika High School head coach Brian Moore. It will be facing a 1 game suspension. Y'all forgive me, my nose stopped up tonight. But Brian Moore he is receiving a 1 game suspension in the second round matchup against Hoover this Friday night in the playoffs. I think that's going to be big, and he's receiving a suspension because of the fact he entered into a game with a student pass or a student media pass. Instead of, I don't know, do y'all receive coaching passes, Bugs? Or is it just like, or is that what it is?
It's a such thing as using your coaching card to get access to a game, but it normally just awards you with um, fan amenities. So being able to sit in the stands, go to concession stand, use the restroom, things of that nature.
Okay. So if that's the case, then I don't know why he used the student media pass. I don't know if he just didn't have his coaching pass, coaching card, whatever it was, but I think it's gonna hurt him. I don't know, what kind of presence the assistant coach, the interim coach will have Friday, but I definitely think it's gonna hurt him not having Coach Moore on the sideline. What's your take on that situation?
I totally agree with you. The head coach is the leader, the obviously established leader for a team, and definitely their word, their let's see, their character, their morale, their ability to unite the troops in order to attack their tasks or their goals together
Yeah,
is innate. It can't be replaced. But I think this is something that they will probably do by committee, as far as each coach binding together in order to uh, win the second round playoff game. I do think that they predicted that they will be in the playoff game because otherwise, how would he how would he ever think to go scout Hoover, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
at the same time, I also feel for both coaches because I know what it's like as far as missing a game when you know your role on the team or you know your
Mhm.
value to the team. Now, obviously, I've never been a head football coach, but I do understand how impactful that is. Um, I I think that there's some gray area that lies in I would say the AHSAA as far as how they go about, scouting, filming, things of that nature.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also feel like the real reason that Coach Moore got suspended was for the student media pass and being able to be so, I would say, up close.
Yeah.
The picture that surfaced showed him
Yeah.
basically with a binder and a pen, and now obviously, he's studious. He's he's very organized. He's a
Hey, check
great.
check this
What you was
out
about
though.
to say?
Why he got to be on the sideline though, bro? With the pad and the pen, like, and it ain't his game, like, come
See,
on,
that's
bro. You gonna sit in the
that
same with dog.
honestly, I feel like that's what got him the suspension because
Facts.
if he would have just used his coach card, got into the game,
Mhm.
and scouted them same way, pen, paper, binder, he could have been right there front row in the stands as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
But I think using the media pass and the picture being surfaced, that I think that's the real reason that he got the suspension.
Oh
I
yeah.
think if he doesn't get a picture surface, if um that was the case, then it wouldn't have been any reaction at all. It actually
I,
would have just been him, getting a up close and personal look at
yeah,
his, next opponent.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I saw something today that stated something about the highest paid head coaches in 7A
Mm-hmm.
football, and it was a top 10, and that top 10 was kind of interesting. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was some people on that list. I knew it was on there, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that they would have been above some of the other coaches on there. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
reel off a few once I reel them off, you tell me, do you feel like they placed in the correct order? I didn't list the whole 10, but I can tell you the rest of the teams that fill out the 10 once I reel out the rest of them for you. So first we got Ben Blackman rolling in at 7. Let me ask you this. Do you think he would be at 7 out of all the high schools in 7A football? Do you think he would be at 7?
Well, I mean, it's when you think about 7A, I will say this, and I think it'll change in the next 2 years once they do the reclassification, do the
Yeah.
numbers and population.
Yeah.
Um, I think being at 7 is just a testimony to his aura in the state.
I got
He's been able to coach in a variety of places and situations, and also his network is
yeah.
vastly
Yeah.
wide as far as having so many different connections, being able to sit in so many different rooms, and then wear so many hats as far
Yeah.
as his titles, position titles. So uh, I think it's warranted.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think I think him having so much success as a head coach in his
Uh-huh.
previous stops
Yeah.
is also contributive to that as well. So
I got you. So coming in at 6, we got Brian Moore. But let me tell you what being Blackman's salary was. I think so. I think it's a salary, and I think it's a, what is it called, a coaching stipend that come in with it.
mhm.
Is that what it is? Is that how it works?
Well, it's
Like you get paid,
different in all
you get paid
places,
more?
man. When you think about it,
because it was split into two. One was a
It's,
salary, and the other one was something else.
well, see, I didn't see the list, so I can't.
I
Uh,
go back. I go
I
back and
can't dissect what I haven't seen just yet.
I
But I
got
will say this: knowing in the situation and scenario I've coached in, as far as being at a county school, being at a city school in the state of
you.
Alabama, and
Yeah.
having colleagues and great friends that are coaching in other states like Florida, like Georgia, like Mississippi, it differs per place. It also differs per state. I think is a great value placed on the academic
Uh-huh.
status in your school, but also in your state.
Uh-huh.
Simply because if you think about the 3 or the 4 states I just named, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia has the higher tier when it comes to coaches being paid. But
Yeah.
Georgia also sits
Yeah.
at a higher tier when it comes to academics and resources and
Athletics too.
just overall athletic
Mm-hmm.
um base. So I
Okay.
think that's something that differs per and it's unique per area.
I got you. I got you. So Coach Blackman ended up making 100. He make 139,000, roughly almost 140. Coach Moore coming in at sixth with 141,000. Uh, Keith Etheridge, four in Auburn, coming in at 148,000, almost 149. Patrick Nix, second. Patrick Nix at 155. And then who you think won?
I mean, obviously, you know who won my one of my former coaches as far as being instrumental in my success, Coach Mark Freeman.
That's it.
He's number one. He's obviously the head coach at Thompson High School right now. So
Yeah.
he's able to tote having one of the better programs in the not just the state, but one of the better programs in the country as far as being nationally known, having a great foundation, and
Uh-huh.
being able to develop kids and creating an atmosphere because
Yeah.
he's not just done that where he is now. He's done it at Spanish Sport.
Uh,
Um, he's done it at the private school level as well. So uh, I think his spot is warranted. But I
okay.
also want to say congratulations to all those coaches because that's a honor to be able to make 6 figures doing what you love, man. I love the game. Some people don't know that the work that those guys probably had to put in from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't know the salary that those guys probably made in the beginning, as
Yeah.
far as starting from the bottom. Some probably was GAs in college before they came back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some started at smaller schools, coaching for a lesser amount of money,
Yeah.
with less resources and also less talent. So I definitely want
Agreed.
to say congratulations to all those guys as far as being even in the top 10 when it comes to compensation.
Agreed. 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 Hey, you
Now, one thing that I want to elaborate on is
okay?
these playoff matchups since we started to roll out these guys' names. So
Ah,
we have Oblak and Hoover, in which
okay.
my preview of the game and from what I know about each team, obviously everybody knows about Hoover. Um, I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat. I think that they have started to find their stride in the second half of the season.
For
I
sure.
think that uh, they found something with their athlete. I think his name's Winston. I can't remember his name. Jonah Winston.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but they have a dual threat guy playing quarterback that they've been able to rally around,
Mm-hmm.
and they obviously they come from a championship pedigree when you talk about their program, when you talk about their resources, and when you talk about that culture.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
their culture is fluent throughout their whole athletic program. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's definitely going to be a tough team to beat. But I also feel like this is the bracket that's mentioned in the top 10 in the country for a reason. Opelika is going to be a tough team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing them with my own two eyes. And might I add, I said the same thing when I saw Auburn. I said the same thing when I saw Central. I think I just said it more and more as our schedule went down the line. But just seeing those guys on the field in person, they look like um, junior colleges, or you
Mm-hmm.
can see the aura in the players. You can see the professionalism in which they arrive as far as having, a system, having
Yeah.
a great number of players, a great amount of coaches.
Yeah.
Um, the approach, their schemes. I think everything about the program is great. I also think that it is continuing to be evolved as far as seeing Opelika change from being 4-6 last year, not even in the playoffs, to now hosting their first round playoff game and now going into the second round playoff game. Uh, I think Opelika is going to be a tough out. Everybody obviously knows Mason. Shh, be quiet. But like I was saying, but Opelika is going to definitely be a tough out. They obviously depend on their strength, which is the running the game and having a stout front seven when it comes to stopping the run.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when you have a successful team in football, you normally have those two formulas. You're very successful running the football. You
Mm-hmm.
can scheme it up either any way possible, whether you're using a quarterback run game, whether you're using traditional run game, gap scheme, zone scheme,
Yeah.
perimeter scheme runs, however you want to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
running the football and being able to stop the run are normally two formulas that most winning and good football teams have. So
Okay.
that's a great matchup. What you think about that matchup?
Man, it's defense. It's gonna be a defensive matchup. Uh Obviously, I feel like Opelika got one of the better defenses in the state right now. The defensive line, that front seven is probably top two, if not number one, in the state. It's gonna be tough without Coach Moore, but I think the guys will rally for him on this one. Um, if they can go in and apply pressure on the defensive front in the first half, I think they'll have a chance to come out with a victory. Opelika has played a season where they had to come out each game and get out front on everybody because of the fact that they have a young quarterback. They have two young quarterbacks, two 10th grade quarterbacks. So they run the football. They're gonna line up and say, "Hey, we running it. Stop us." So if you can stop the run, I think you got a chance to beat Opelika because you're gonna make those young sophomore quarterbacks pass the ball more than 10 times, more than 15, 20 times. And that's not what they used to doing. They used to being game managers. So I truly think if Hoover got home field advantage, they got to play sound free football, mistake free football. Can't make any mistakes. I think if they go out and play a clean football game, I think they will have a good chance to beat Opelika. But if Opelika come to play on both sides of the ball, preferably on defense, and they can shut their offense out, they're gonna have to corral that do it their quarterback you was talking about. They're gonna have to keep him in check if they want to have a chance. But I think they can. I think they done played a couple mobile quarterbacks this year. They've been hurt by a couple mobile quarterbacks this year too. So we'll see how that one plays out. Kind
Uh,
of.
that's what's up. I totally agree. Totally agree with that one. I don't have a prediction for that game. I think both of those teams are. It would be wild for me to make a prediction. Obviously, I'm gonna ride with my guys where I'm
Oh yeah.
from,
Oh yeah.
but
Got
to make a true prediction, I couldn't tell you simply because with Coach Moore not being on the sideline, to me, that is what can drive that game in either way. I
Yeah.
also feel like with them being on the road. Now,
Mhm.
if it was them playing at home,
Yeah.
I think that would be, a little bit easier path for them to be able to navigate. But being
Mhm.
on the road without your head coach, obviously the Hoover Met, it's probably gonna be cold. It's probably gonna be a lot of people out there. So
Oh, yeah, no
I
doubt.
I can't give you a true prediction for that game. But Auburn and Thompson are also playing, and Central and Vestavia Hills will be playing. So I give you a prediction for Central and Vestavia Hills.
What
Can't
you got?
really give you a prediction for Auburn and Thompson because I'll explain that here secondly. But Central and Vestavia Hills, I'm going with Central. Carver, Montgomery, we played Vestavia Hills first game of the season. And one thing that we did in order to beat them was take advantage of them with our speed. If Central can take advantage of them as far as using their receivers in perimeter screen game, also using them in a diverse passing attack,
Mhm.
um, uh, making sure that they do a good job protecting their quarterback and give them time to complete easy intermediate throws and also quick
Yeah.
game things in order to you know, build up into a deep passing attack. I think
Mhm.
that they will be successful and win the game. Um, Seeing Vestavia is well coached. They
Mm,
also are going to be
fundamentals.
um, very fundamentally sound. Um, but if you can take advantage of them with that aspect in mind, offensively and then defensively, making sure that you can stop the run and also be disciplined with your eyes because they will do a lot of smoke and mirror things on offense. Part of being a well coached team,
Yeah.
using their strengths as far as being smart, being witty,
Mhm.
being in the right place, and being fundamentally sound. Those are
Yeah.
all of their strengths.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
that's my prediction of that game. Auburn Thompson, what you think about that one?
Man, I hate to say this because we on the other side, but I'm gonna have to say it, man. I feel like Auburn gonna come up with the dub, man.
I do too. I think it's at Duck Sound.
If it is, they definitely not losing. They definitely not losing at the Sam now, at the Duck for sure. But I do say it's gonna be a heck of a game. Another defensive battle. But give me Auburn, and I'm gonna say a close one. I'm gonna say Auburn 24, Thompson 19.
Okay, okay. Now,
That's what.
me seeing Auburn in person, like I said, like I just said, Auburn, like I just said about Central as well. They look great as far as having formidable guys at every position, enough guys at every position,
Yeah,
looking the part, being able to move, having speed, having length and size and strength. They have it. Auburn actually might have been the most. Let's see. They might have been the most sound as far as team that I've seen defend our guys, in which everybody knows Carl Montgomery had an explosive offense this past season.
definitely.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer that we're not in the playoffs actually, but
Boy, but
everybody knows that that team can put up some points.
oh yeah,
And seeing Auburn was probably the only team this year. And if you would ask me at the beginning of the year, Auburn was the only team that I could see a lose to during the regular season. But they were very stout. They had great pass rush. They were sound stopping the run. They had tremendous length in the secondary.
mm-hmm.
They're fundamentally sound, coached well. So everybody knows though you're gonna get the same thing with Thompson. You got some 4 and 5 star guys that's gonna be out there. You know they're gonna be fundamentally sound. You know they're gonna be hype as
Yeah,
far as understanding the scenario, being the underdog, maybe for the first time in a while in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that's going to make them play with an extra chip on their shoulder. And obviously having Mark Freeman, who's been there, done that, it makes to be for a great game. I mean, Keith Etheridge has done that as well. He's won um, at the 3A level as far as being a state champion at Leeds. The Mark Freeman won 5A level, being a state champion for in Spanish foot, but also winning at the 7A level and competing at the national level for the last maybe 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
So I think that this makes for a great, great battle down the stretch.
Yeah.
Don't know what to give as a prediction score, but I'll just go ahead and say I'll take the home team since Auburn's going to be at home. So,
Agreed. Agreed. So this is the last.
uh,
I'm gonna let you. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, dude, with that being said, talking about all three of those matchups, we also talk about teams with 4 and 5 star guys who are on their rosters, and it's mid-November, creeping into mid-November, which means we're creeping closer and closer toward the early signing period. So, right now, how do you feel about your favorite college team signing class or signing Hall as it stands today?
As of right now, yeah. Uh, man. Honestly, I was a little upset this morning when I kept reading, the tweets about, there was some big news coming. Uh, Obviously we knew it was going to be a decommit that was going to be on the way. Kind of had a feeling it was going to be Caleb Cunningham just due to the fact that, it had been some rumblings, and some articles the past few days, past couple of weeks where Ole Miss had been picking up some stride with him, and obviously, that's the home team. That's one of the home teams in the state of Mississippi as well, where he plays high school football. But I'm not really distraught about it. More so, just upset the fact that he decommitted. Obviously, I wish the best for the young man. I think he will still do great things at Mississippi. But I truly do think we got the talent, man. We already got the talent at receiver. We lost that number one spot. I want to say on maybe one or two ranking sites. I think we slipped down to two, which is fine. We still got a ton of talent on the team right now. We're a very young team. We loaded up at receiver last year, so I truly think either some of the redshirt freshmen or some of the sophomores, like Amari Jefferson, Rico Scott, Caleb Odom, and obviously we got the phenom and Ryan Williams. And don't let some of these seniors come back that's going to be seniors next year, like K Law, Kobe Prentice. Don't let Dermot Bernard
E-Man.
and E Man. Don't let some of them guys come back and have a fresh Keelan Russell that's going to be here in December, early enrollee, because he coming to take a spot. So if you give me whoever the quarterback is, next year will be a more fitting offensive friendly offense for those guys. And I truly think we will be just fine in the recruiting world going into next season. And like you said, we getting closer to early signing day. So I do think it's still some time for some more targets to decommit and commit to us as well. We got a lot of guys that's on the fence. We're still looking for Justice Terry to commit. Hopefully commit to us or either UGA in the next month or so. Hopefully he commit in the early signing period. But and we got a couple of receivers that's supposed to be coming in on a few visits, either this week or next week. So as far as recruiting is going to go, it's going to continue to be fluctuate. You know how recruiting is. It's up sometimes, and you're going to always lose talent in this world with NIL and transfer portal. It's going to always be room for us to lose guys. But what
Yeah.
you got on that?
I think, man, recruiting is not over. Obviously, it will be going. It will be a talked about thing all the way up to the conclusion of the first signing period.
Yeah.
And still to be ongoing all the way through February for some of those guys who are just now reclassifying up and making the announcement to reclassify up, like for example, the safety that's going to Texas. I can't remember his name. Was it Zulu Hicks? I think that's what his
Sound,
name is.
sound familiar.
Yeah, I think he just reclassified up from 2026 to 2025.
The Stewart,
And
who did it? The Jakeem
oh,
Stewart,
just Jakeem Stewart, number one player. I think he did. I
he
think he
did.
reclassified up as well. So with those guys coming up, and also them making that decision at this time, they'll still be talked about when it comes to the second signing period. But
Yeah.
everybody knows you try to go ahead and get that your class solidified in the first hall simply because top tier programs like to get their guys in mid year.
Mhm.
Getting them in mid year. That's something if I look back on that would have been uh, a very very thought out thing for me if it was an option.
Mhm.
Um, Simply because it allows you to be able to get familiar with the program, get familiar
Mhm.
with the coaches.
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to start working out.
Mhm. Mhm.
It gives you the opportunity to start being a part of the team,
Mhm.
learning your teammates, learning the playbook, learning the system, and also being more familiar with the campus, get
Mhm.
acclimated to classes, acclimated to being a young adult, being on your own. So it's a lot of benefits to it in early enrollees. So I think that's going to be a big thing um, coming down to the decision making process for these recruits.
Mhm.
Uh, and just like one guy decommitting, that means what? Somebody else is gonna take his spot. So like
Yep.
I understand it, and it's more to come. I don't say I don't. I'm not gonna particularly say it's more to come from Bama. I'm just talking about period. A lot of these guys aren't decided just yet. It's guys that have made pledges for or been commits for 2 years now, and tomorrow they'll be going somewhere else. Or
Mhm.
on December 14th or whatever day it is,
Mhm.
December 7th, they'll be going somewhere else. So
Yep.
I don't take it too seriously. I wait till the pen hit the paper, the ink dries,
Yeah.
and the fax machine sings. That's
Mhm.
what that's what our coach used to say on back in signing day when we was uh, coming through. The fax machine got to sing, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. But yeah, man, I think going forward we'll start to see a plethora of commits or decommits here
Mhm.
all the way throughout that period. And also, I think the classes aren't defined on 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think the classes are defined in the next 3 to 4 years and the amount of results that they put in and the amount of kids that are retained
Oh
throughout
yeah.
those classes. Because
Oh yeah.
nowadays, not only do you have to recruit them and get them on campus, you have to actually recruit them to get them to stay on campus.
And you got to
And
retain the ones that's already there, already playing for you. Got to.
correct,
Mm-hmm.
correct. So we'll see how this goes as far as not only the signing class, but the true testimony of the work put in by that signing class. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I think that's it for tonight as far as
Yes, sir.
understanding our perspective with high school football here in the state. Um, we will elaborate more and more as the time goes, as the playoffs continue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Next week, look forward to hearing us speak on some uh, NBA and college basketball, and also start to elaborate on the NFL a bit as we start to creep closer and closer towards uh, division matchups, making sure that they secure playoff spots, what's next for all of these big teams, and some of our favorite professionals. You got anything to add to it?
Oh no, man, no, that's it. That's it, man. I'm gonna let you take it away and wrap us up. Wrap us up.
Man, well, like I said, this has been another great episode of BAM Media Sports Pod. We thank you all of our viewers, for liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. And we hope to continue to drop this great content for you and look forward to seeing you all in the future. Peace, blessings, and miracles.